Okay, this video is about putting fractions in lowest terms. Okay, so putting a fraction into lowest terms, I have an example here, means to reduce these numbers within this fraction low, making the numbers as small as possible, where the two numbers, the numerator and denominator, will have no other common factor than 1. Okay, so for example, when I'm reducing, I need to use the greatest common factor to reduce them. So the factors for 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. Factors for 16 are 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. So what's the greatest or the largest common factor there, or the factor that is in both sets of factors? And that would be 8. So then I will then take 8 and divide the numerator and the denominator by 8, which will give me a new fraction, which is equivalent. So that's going to give me a 1 on the top and a 2 on the bottom. So 1/2 is an equivalent fraction to 8 over 16, but 1/2 is in lowest terms. Lowest terms because the only factors of 1 are 1 and 1 and 2. So the greatest common factor thus between those two is 1. Okay, so for example, a visual here on the side here, this fraction we have here is there are 8 possible spots to make a whole, and we have 4. Okay, so to reduce this, so again, the factors for 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, and 8 for 8, the greatest common there is 4, so we're going to divide each by 4. So once again, we're going to get a half. So when you look at that over here, so the way it's doing is, see, we're taking out these, and now we've reduced it to a half. Okay, where that we haven't changed the amount that we have in that particular whole. We have half of it, but we've reduced those down, so now that we have 1 out of a possible 2 to make the whole, as opposed to the 4 out of the possible 8. So that's the process of what we're doing for reducing fractions. So again, our goal here is to find the greatest common factor and then to use that to reduce. So it's going to be a little different each time. The first step that I always try to do here is I always check, so we're going to start with number 1a here. I always check and see if the numerator is a factor of the denominator, meaning can I multiply the numerator by something and get the denominator? For example, in this one, 4 times 4 is 16, so yes, it is. So that's our best case scenario, because then we can just divide each of them by the numerator, which is going to give us a 1 on top, which as soon as we have a 1 up for our numerator, we already know we're going to be in lowest terms. Okay, so then that's going to be 4 on the bottom. So 1/4 is equivalent to 4 over 16. 1/4 is the lowest terms, or the most reduced version of that fraction. So let's try here. So once again, is 3 a factor of 6? Yes, it is. 3 times 2 is 6. So I divide it by 3. That's going to give me 1 over 2. Okay, is 2 a factor of 4? Yes, it is. Divided by 2. That gives me 1/2 again. We'll get away from the half ones here in a second. This one again, 5 is a factor of 10, so we're going to divide it by 5, and that's going to be 1/2 also. All right, here we have another one, finally one that's not a half. So is 5 a factor of 15? Yes, it is. So I'm going to divide these by 5, divide by 5. Okay, so that's 1 on top, 3 on the bottom. Okay, is 4 a factor of 20? Yes. 1/5. Okay, back over here. Is 4 a factor of 24? Yes, it is. Once again, divide by 4. Now you'll see in a moment here, not all numerators are factors of the denominator. For example, this one, is 8 a factor of 12? No, it is not. So in this instance, we have to use the greatest common factor. So the factor, so then sometimes you just have to think about, or you can write them down. 1, 2, 4, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12 are my factors. So the greatest common there is 4. So I'm going to divide these by 4 to get a reduced to lowest terms version here, 2 over 3. So 2/3 is the reduced fraction in lowest terms. Okay, 12 and 15. Okay, when I think of 15, what are the factors of 15? I really instantly you think of 3 and 5. Either one of those go into there. Yes, 3 goes into there, so I'm going to divide these by 3. Okay, so it's going to go in 4 over 5. So that's another method that I use when I'm doing these is I think I take the denominator, or the bigger one, and I think of what's the most common factors that you would get 21, 3, and 7. Okay, do either of those factors, are they a factor in 6? Yes, they are. 3 is, so then I use that one. And then that's going to reduce me to 2 over 7. Okay, now again, how do I know that I'm there, that I'm in lowest terms? Again, when they have no other common factor other than 1, they're in lowest terms. So that's the only common factor these ones have is the 1. Okay, 10 and 25. So when I think of 25, 5 times 5, 5 goes into 10. So I'm going to divide each by 5. So it's going to give me 2 over 5. 12, 32. So looking at the 32, 4 times 8 is what comes to mind for me. So will 8 go into 12? No. Will 4? Yes. So divide by 4, divide by 4. Okay, so I'm going to get 3 over 8. 12 and 30. So again, lots of factors for 12. To get 30, I usually think of 5 times 6. 6 goes into 12, so let's divide by 6. That's going to give me 2 over 5. Okay, 12 and 28. What do you get for 28? You got 14 times 2. 2 goes into 12. How about 4 and 7? Okay, which one of those go in here? 4 does, so let's divide by 4. Divide by 4 equals 3 over 7. Okay, 16 and 20. The one that comes to mind, 16 times 16 is, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5. Okay, divide by 4, divide by 4 is going to give me 4 over 5. 20 and 24, same thing. 24, I think 4 times 6. 4 goes into 20, so we're going to divide by 4. It's going to give me 5 over 6. 20 and 36, when I think of 36, I think 6 times 6. Next one you think of is, but 6 doesn't go into 20. 4 times 9. 4 goes into 20, so divide by 4. Okay, so then that gives me 5 over 9. So next one here, 49, you always think of 7 times 7. Does 7 go into 42? Yes, it does. 6 times 7. So I'm going to divide by 7, divide by 7. It gives me a 7 over here and a 6 up here. Okay, now 21 over 35. So for 35, you think of 5 times 7 is what I think of. 21, you think of 3 times 7. So we're going to divide both by 7. 7's a factor of both. Okay, so we're going to get 3 and 5. Okay, 88. Really what all you ever think of is 8 times 11. Either of those going to 48? Yes, 6 times 8 is 48. So divide by 8, divide by 8. Okay, it's going to be 6 over 11. 24 and 30. In my head, what comes to me is 5 times 6 gives me 30. Okay, 5 times 6. How about 24? 4 times 6. Divide by 6, divide by 6. Okay, so that's going to give me 4 over 5. 14 is 63. 63, you think of 7 times 9. 7 goes into 14, so 2 times, so you divide by 7 is going to give me 2 over 9. 35, once again, at 15. 15 is 3 times 5. 35 is 5 times 7. So we're going to divide by 5, divide by 5. Is going to give me 3 sevenths. 44, 4 times 11. 4 goes into 20, so we're going to divide by 4, divide by 4. It's going to give me 5 over 11. So there we have it. So those are usually the methods. Now, let's take another one down here. Let's say that we don't reduce it far enough. Okay, so 64, you're going to do 8 times 8. And this one, you're going to do 8 times 7. Okay, that won't really be a one that we're going to divide incorrectly. So we're going to get 7 over 8. Let's take one like here. Okay, so we've got 20 and we've got 32. So let's say that we can't think of anything else. We see they're both even, so we just divide it by 2. Now it's going to give us 10 over half of 32, sorry, 16. Okay, now ways to always look at these and make sure. One way we can know that they're in lowest terms, for example, this one up here, those are consecutive numbers, 7 and 8. When the numbers are consecutive, numerator and denominator, then it's in lowest terms. One way we can know this one is not is because both of them are even. So we know for sure we can at least divide it by 2 once again, right, to reduce it even more. So that would be 5 over 8. Okay, so you can do that if you see that they're both even and you can't think of a factor that's common, you're just struggling to get that, at least divide it by 2 if they're both even, and then see if you can divide it by 2 again or see if another factor comes to mind. Okay, so for example, so we can divide these by 9, divide by 9 is going to give me 1/2. Okay, 24, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. Those are all the factors. Okay, so let's say you're looking here and you're like, oh yeah, 42, yeah, you can, that's even, so I can divide that by 2. Okay, in reality our greatest common factor is 6, but let's say we just do it by 2. So I've got 12 over 21. Okay, now I've got an odd and an even there, so then I might think, oh, but then when you see 21, you should think 3 times 7. Wait, can 3 or 7 go into 12? Yeah, 3 can, so then I would divide it by 3, divide it by 3. So now I'm going to get it down to 4 over 7. Okay, as opposed to in the beginning, if I would have done it with the greatest common factor, which was 6, divide by 6, divide by 6, I would have had 4 over 7, the same thing. So that's the steps for reducing fractions to lowest terms. So any answer, whenever we're adding or subtracting fractions, we always want to then, when we've got our answer after we've added them, we always want to reduce to lowest terms.